with I think like a lot of you guys have maybe do some Google research, hear from your friends, or maybe like from your intern experience, you talk with your colleagues. The term of quant is actually very confusing, even to me, before like I get into the domain. So after working more and more, like I found like this is the way. There's some way to classify them into different group, and this is how like we look at it inside the industry. So here there are five different type of cons, common cons that I will talk about. The first one, the pricing con, like it would be the guys like in the investment bank that do a lot of the pricing of some of very complicated product. Maybe some of you guys take some courses in those talk about stochastic calculus, Bledsoe model, like those very like exotic, complicated model that requiring stochastic calculus, like fall into the category of the pricing con. So this is like a one type of con that we talk about that like utilize very complicated stochastic modeling to do some like work for the banks, or like for the buy side, they also need to do pricing. So the second type of con we're talking about would be like con researcher and con strategist. So for this one, it would be slightly different from the pricing con. They both need to know about the financial market. They also need to know about the math. But in terms of the math knowledge, the like the common con researcher law is very different from the pricing con. So for the con researcher, they will utilize different like a more interesting technique, I would say, like machine learning, statistical modeling, like big data, like even like deep learnings. They will use whatever mathematical tools available out there in order to build strategies or to analyze data to provide insight in order to generate revenue, reduce the cost, etc. So the third type I would say is called quant trader. So for quant trader, are the people not just sitting back doing modeling, doing research, but they're the people that are both like leverage mathematical model, like also like programming, at the same time market knowledge in order to make the trading decision. So they're the one that are actually executing the decision at the same time that they have a lot of hardcore technical knowledge in the pocket for them to use in order to like navigate in this complicated market. And the fourth one like would be like about quant engineers and quant developers. So for this role, it's more like catering for the students that have a strong programming or engineering background. So for quant engineers or developers, some of the people with the name of quant engineers or developer, they like a pure software engineer. But for some of the quant engineer or some of the quant developer, they actually need to know some mathematics in order to help the quant traders, quant researcher to implement ideas for trading, risk management, pricing, or P&L like bookkeeping, etc. Like inside a firm. And finally, like for risk, so a lot of people will ignore the risk department, but actually, risk manager and risk analyst in banks or buy side, they are kind of like intensive in terms of the math tooling they're using. Although like they might utilize a lot of the tools available on the public, but actually they need to know the math behind it in order to provide good risk like estimation in order to handle their positions. So coming up, so let's go through the details of the knowledge everybody to know. So on the next page, in here, like this would be, I would say, kind of like a summary of the knowledge that one would know. So for quant trader, quant researcher, mostly programming and mathematics, and also market understanding, but I won't put it here because it really depends on the domain you're working on. So in terms of programming, as I think most of you guys already know, is that Python. Python is one of the key language that the quant researcher and quant trader to use due to their like efficiency in coming up with ideas and also to do data analytics, data crunching. At the same time, some of them will need to use C++ due to performance issue in order to like speed up their like library, because Python is slow, C++ is fast, so they sometimes you need to use it to for some research purpose or to do some pricing. At the same time, for mathematics, I don't go through the details, but we can see here probability, statistics, regression, multivariable calculus, optimization, machine learning, all those common terms, common topics that you for like engineering or a science student will take. So these are the foundations of the bread and butter for their day-to-day work. For stochastic calculus, personally speaking, is totally optional and it's very difficult. So up to you. So finally, like for quant developer, as I mentioned, it's more like a software engineering incline, but at the same time, they need to know like good mathematics in order to actually understand what the quant trader and researcher knows and to implement their idea. So on top of that, a part of the math, they need to know the good CS foundation, different programming language, and the one that I list in here are the most important topic, I would say, and also the most important programming language that the industry mostly use.